Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Islam is back at the request of the brothers and sisters asking for me to do more videos addressing the different attacks against Muslims and Islam. And so I'm here with a new video here dealing and addressing a person by the name of John Guandolo. From what I understand from my research, he is a disgraced former FBI agent who turned after he left his job, left his position because of his being disgraced. He has now turned to he jumped on the anti-Islam, anti-Muslim bandwagon. As we've seen in the reports earlier a few years ago, there's a lot of money if you turn into an anti-Muslim bigot. So him being a typical, another suspected bigot, he jumped on the bandwagon and is now attacking Islam, attacking Muslims with a bunch of BS conspiracy theories, typical of the suspected white supremacist. So we're not surprised there. So here we go. Let's jump right into it, because I told him I was going to address his claims and I was going to refute him, and let's do just that. Here we go.
I'm not here to point out one person and say, because you're a Muslim, you're a threat. What I am saying is, if you adhere to Sharia and seek to impose it on me and my family, you're a threat. And our government has a responsibility to protect and defend not only the Constitution, but the people of the United States from such a threat.
Okay, so here we go again with the paranoia about Sharia. I've said this before, and I have a video. You can check my video exposing the myth of the Islamic threat, which is funny because that's the name of his video, which is understanding the threat. So in my video, which I did, just go to my YouTube channel and look up my video exposing the myth of the Islamic threat. I addressed the stuff he's talking about now. They're still trying to promote this, this demonization of Islam so that people can look at all Muslims with distrust, just like the German Nazis did against the Jews. You bigots are acting no different. So as I said before in that video, they keep making this thing about Sharia, and Sharia applies to Muslims. 99.9% of Sharia laws apply to Muslims. They have nothing to do with non-Muslims whatsoever.
The entire purpose of Islam, according to all Islamic doctrine, is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called a caliphate, and under that, Sharia or Islamic law is the law of the land. That's it.
Okay, so you heard his claim that according to him, the purpose of Islam is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the world called a caliphate. First of all, no such concept exists in the Quran at all. Okay, you will not find the term caliphate used in the Quran in such a context at all. The only place that the Quran mentions a caliph is in regards to humanity as a whole. In other words, humanity has been placed as the vicegerents of God on this earth. It is humanity's job to be the rulers and the caretakers of earth. But as far as this Islamic concept of a caliphate, that is not mentioned in the Quran at all. And as far as his claim that the purpose of Islam is to ensure that there's an Islamic state throughout the world is also false. According to the number one source of Islamic doctrine, the Quran, in chapter 42 verse 48, it says, Mr. Guandolo, "But if they turn away, we have not sent you as a guardian over them. Your job is to convey the message." Another verse, chapter 6 verse 107, which clearly disputes your claim, says, "And if Allah had pleased, they would not have set up others with him. And we have not appointed you a keeper over them, and you are not placed in charge of them." So that makes it clear right there. You're not placed in charge of them. So how can there be this claim of the so-called, worldwide Islamic state and caliphate? Yeah, so how could there be this caliphate when the Quran is telling you that you haven't been appointed to be in charge of the people? So if they turn away, you're not in charge of them. Yet you're talking about a caliphate, Islamic state, and all this nonsense. Here's another one, chapter 16 verse 93. "If Allah so willed, he could make you all one people, but he leaves straying whom he pleases, and he guides whom he pleases. But you shall certainly be called to account for all your actions." And another one, this one knocks it completely out of the park. Quran chapter 88 verse 21 and 22 says, "Therefore do remind, for you are only a reminder. You are not there to control them." It's over. Your lies are done. Your lies are done and exposed. The Quran is the number one source and the highest source for Islamic doctrine. And as you can see from these verses, they tell you that there is no such thing as this caliphate. Because if the people reject, we're not supposed to be put in charge of them if they reject. You're not in charge of them if they reject. Your job is only to remind them or to deliver the message. Finished. You're finished with your lies.
Islam breaks the entire world into two parts. The Dar al-Islam, where Sharia is the law of the land, and the Dar al-Harb, the house or abode of war, where there is not Sharia as the law of the land. The function of Islam is to eliminate the Dar al-Harb until the entire world is a Dar al-Islam.
Okay, now, as you heard, I already just proved him wrong with the previous section of verses that I gave. I just proved that that is not the function of Islam, to make the whole world fall under Islam. I just showed that the verses just clearly said that if the people turn away or reject, your job is only to deliver the message. You are not put in charge of them. So that's refuted there. But this concept of Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb is actually was something that was made up. It's not in the Quran, and you will not find it described in the Sunnah. And the scholars, you have scholars letting you know that this was made up later. This was made up. Some say that it was something that was invented by the concept of what is it? The Dar al-Harb was introduced by what they call the Hanafi school of Islamic thought, or whatever the case may be. So it doesn't date back to the Prophet. It doesn't go to back to the Quran. It was something that was invented later, and this is not something that is agreed upon or something by all the Muslims. In fact, the Quran refutes this as well in chapter 60, verse 8. In chapter 60, verse 8, it makes it clear that there are people, that there are people who are not hostile towards Muslims. So this is a lie that the world, according to Islam, is divided up into two parts: Dar al-Harb, the abode of the so-called abode of war, and the abode of Islam. No, the Quran recognizes that there are people who are not hostile. So his claims are bogus. Okay, his claims are bogus, and also his claim that the Dar al-Harb is supposed to be the place where Islam is not at is also false. Even if you look at those scholars who use this terminology, the abode of war is a place that is hostile to the Muslims. Not just a place that just doesn't have Islam. Wrong. No, a place that is willingly and purposefully hostile towards Muslims. But again, Islam does not break the world up into two parts. The Quran clearly recognizes that you have different kinds of people. You have some people who are hostile. You have some people who are favorable towards Islam. And then you have those who are neutral. So the Quran recognizes that, and the Quran makes it clear in chapter 60, verse 8, that as long as the people are not trying to fight you because of your religion or drive you from your homes, you can be at peace with these people. So again, Mr. Guandolo is wrong. Okay? He's wrong in his assertions.
And the vehicle to do that is called what? Jihad, which in 100% of all published Islamic law is only defined as warfare against non-Muslims.
And Mr. Guandolo, that is a 100% lie that it is defined as only warfare against non-Muslims. I have here the former head of the Al-Azhar Fatwa Committee, Sheikh Atiya Sakr, and he tells us that you are wrong, that jihad is not defined 100% in all Islamic sources as warfare against non-Muslims. Here's what he says. He says that jihad can be observed through any means and in any field, whether material or moral. Among the types of jihad are struggling against one's desires, against Satan, against poverty, against illiteracy and disease, and fighting all evil forces in the world. There are many religious texts that refer to these types of jihad. One of the forms of jihad is defending life, property, or honor. Those who die while engaging in jihad are considered to be martyrs, as confirmed by the prophetic narrations. He says jihad is also done to avert aggression on home countries and all that is held sacred, or in order to face those who try to hinder the march of the call of truth. Thus, jihad is never a tool of waging war against the innocents. It is never a means of flexing the muscles or bullying the weak and oppressed. Okay? So, you're wrong, sir. It is not defined as 100% always in all so-called text to wage war against unbelievers. You're wrong, and you're misinforming people with your ignorant bigotry, sir. You need to stop. And furthermore, I have other Islamic texts that refute you as well. For example, I have Ibn Jarir at-Tabari. He writes in his book entitled The Book of Jihad, in which he states, Muslim jurists agreed unanimously that the Messenger of Allah made peace with the polytheist of the Quraysh. And it goes on to state that peace does not mean subjugation or having to pay jizya. Al-Awza'i stated, the Messenger of Allah concluded a peace treaty with the polytheists on the day of Hudaybiyah without them having to pay to him a tribute or tax. Okay? And he said, and the Messenger of Allah said, the Romans will make with you a secure peace. Okay? Thus, the Messenger of Allah did not find fault with peace agreements. So, again, your claims that, jihad means there has to be this continuous war and the only option is Islam has to dominate is a complete lie, sir. Why are you lying to these people to promote your suspected white supremacist, white domination agenda over these people? Stop lying to the people with your lies. So there you have it. I told you I would deal with your claims directly, and I've done so. And I'm going to be making other videos refuting and debunking more of your foolish videos promoting your bigotry. And I'd like to thank you all for watching. You can follow us on our website, www.thecaseforislam.webs.com. Make sure you put the dashes in between the words as you see here, and you can follow us there. Thank you. And also, coming in 2017 will be the release of our what we call digital video book, which will be a DVD and also in audio book form, misquoting the Quran. It's a project we were working on for the last few years. It's taken some time, but we should have it released in 2017. So keep a lookout for that as well, and we'll keep you guys updated on when you can start to put your orders in for it. Thank you.